this. I think I'm live. Hey, it says I'm live. Awesome. Welcome to Vlog Thursday. And, yeah, I'm running late. 10:30 p.m. What? Oh, chocolate?
Yeah.
Yes, I got chocolate handed to me. Hold me fix my camera. That's how I fix my camera. No real secrets to it, guys. Just do that. I got a holiday card over here. We'll just make this like a. Also, this is kind of romantic. Oh man, I just blew up my candle. You ever want to? I got to do a thing of what's actually in my office. There we go. I know I shouldn't, but I do have candles in my office right now because I love the smell of pine. Anyways. Stretch, set, all that fun stuff. I just finished eating. That's why I was partly late because I was buying cars and doing some other stuff. It was a really busy day, which is good. Bad news is I didn't reply to all my emails, which bothers me greatly. So that'll be tonight. So you guys, let's see, Chris, you missed the start. Yes, you did. You missed nothing. I was babbling about nothing. That's the start of this. The stream connection is much better than last week. Tell Mo I have a movie recommendation. The Room, 2003 with Tommy Wiseau. New Zealand listening. What else we have here? Waiting for that YouTube live button. All right. So we got plenty of people in here. Oh, the bitrate is low. Why does it do that? I don't understand. I occasionally get bitrate low kind of randomly, and I don't know why. Because there's nothing... Matter of fact, my bandwidth is not even peaked out when I look at pfSense. It's just working fine, so I'm puzzled by that. Hello from Sweden. Hello from all over the place. I always get a kick out of it. There's so many people around the world, and it's such a cool global audience seeing people from all over. It is definitely really cool. I definitely like that. Today was a busy day because, we just have projects going everywhere, and I will even drag something over here. I got to copy it. You guys can witness me copying things. So we need this folder here. We're going to copy it. It's going to go into the Freenas video folder. Down for what project? There is so many weird ways I name things sometimes. Like it's this will make sense later. This is a Brett walkthrough. This is something else that happened. We're out finishing that job where all that warehouse stuff. So that is part of what these videos are going to be. So once they're done copying over, they will, I'll actually share stuff that's going to be in a future upcoming video. Smash the like button, blah, blah, blah. Chocolate from Belgium. It is not chocolate from Belgium. Chocolate from Belgium, though, is always appreciated because chocolate from Belgium is amazing. They definitely know what they're doing when it comes to chocolate. So let's see. Hi from Italy. Awesome. You start the stream 15 minutes later time, it'll be Friday. I'm almost Vlog Friday in Sweden. That's interesting. I never thought about that. I guess it's only Vlog Thursday where I'm at, but I do have to base things on the time by which I'm at. So that's fairly relevant. That's the way I have to do it. Oops. I was ignoring my wife's messages, but it's okay. She doesn't watch my live stream. Almost done copying these files. Anyways, what did I title this? Why I review some things and not others. All right, now that I've babbled for no reason for 4 minutes and the live stream is going, why do I review things and not others? And why am I bringing this up? Well, let's actually go ahead and go over to YouTube and pull up the dashboard and we'll talk about that. We got to go here to community. Insightful, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. And can't wait till it's officially released. But there's a few times in here. I find fancy that you use RMRF. Yeah, I do that. I always space them out. I don't know. I know you can do it both ways, but you'll see me mostly put -R, -F. What I was looking for is there's a few people that are always asking me, like, can you review this? Can you review this? And like right here, here's one of them that just popped up. This is just from this morning. And this is one of the things, people asking like, hey, can you review this? Or can you review that? Someone else asked for another comparison. But one of the things I want to really just, or someone like this, it would be awesome if someone implemented FreeNAS on ZFS. And I was like, why? You know, I don't understand that as a question. But what I really want to point out is I review things, and this is like the part of the basis for my channel, is reviewing things that I use, as opposed to so many reviewers get something that they don't really use, they unbox it, and there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it just comes down to how in-depth they go. My reviews are more based on whether or not I use the product, whether or not I've used it in production. To me, that gives you better insight into it. And thank you, William Daughtery. I just seen that pop up. You donated $20. Awesome. I do appreciate. Money does help keep things, keeps the lights on for sure. But so one of the things I want to make sure is when I'm doing these reviews, they're based on my use of them. Like I use UniFi. We deploy these at scale. So when I say, hey, you can do this or that with a UniFi, I'm not talking like, oh, yeah, I seen a guy one time claim he used 100 UniFis at a location. No, we have used large installs. Matter of fact, this is now that the videos are done copying, I think this one. So right now, this is us installing a warehouse that you're seeing here. This raw video, I have no idea what, Brett just wandered around with the camera. And we put Wi-Fi all throughout this entire warehouse and put up all the IDFs. We're running all the cabling and everything else. And this is all a big UniFi job. And that's one of the things is my review. So when people say, hey, Tom, I wish you would review, and I get people repeatedly emailing me about this too, and I just tell them no. I'm going to now send them this video. They can watch the first few minutes of it. But a big piece of this is the fact that I just don't use that product, and I don't have a use case for that product. So I'm always trying new products. Don't get me wrong. That's how I got to learn about other products, is the fact that I'm willing to try them. But especially these one-offs, like, hey, can't you compare these consumer routers? That's not me. I don't use them. So I kind of don't have much insight into those. This is interesting. You were watching this video with me the first time. So, hey, look at the back room. So I'll go back over to that. There's Brett. I didn't have time to drive out there today. It's the electrical room. Turns the lights on. I want to see this real quick. I'll answer your question in 1 second here. Cool. This is... Okay. Neat. This is where the Comcast and the fiber comes in. So, okay, cool. But I like to make sure all my reviews and my choices, like even when I choose a product, I think about the security, the longevity of the company. When I choose an open source product, I look at the same thing. Has it been code vetted? Has it been audited? Would I use this in production? And I'll throw WireGuard out there. If people ask me about WireGuard, what do I think of it? WireGuard looks awesome on paper. Everything about it so far I really like. Would I put this in production at a client? Not yet. It has not gone through a code review. And even like I like the idea of, is it Bitwarden, the open source password management tool? That one finally went through a code audit. Now I can start thinking about using it, but not until. Just because it's open source or just because it's a new product or just because a lot of people seem to like it in some random forum is not the trigger point by which I start doing it. So that's a really important aspect of all of my reviews is they're based on that. I also don't do paid reviews. People can't pay. I got an email I got to reply to. Someone wanted to pay me to do a review. That's not me either. I don't do paid reviews. I get that offer quite a bit. And I just simply skip and glaze over those people because it's just, I do reply to a handful of them. Like I don't do that. I actually have a business that reached out to me, 2 of them right now that want to just pay me to do a video about their product. And I already told them no. And they keep upping the number. They think it's not enough. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with being enough. It's just that I don't do that. That would not be the same integrity I keep with what I do. So hopefully that helps. Do I have any? Have I looked more at Floatplane? I should look that up. Let me look real quick. But I haven't heard a word out of them. They have like I sent them an email why I want to be a creator, and they have never replied to it. So I don't know. My guess is they're absolutely swamped with everyone wants to be a creator. I don't know what they probably are going to have to figure out their how they want to do it. You know what I mean? Like what's their qualifications? They can't just have everybody on it. What meets the qualification? Blah blah blah. So there's probably going to be some of that. I don't know. So I haven't heard of anything back from Floatplane since I applied for they have like a creator thing you fill out. And the website was going slow when I filled it out. My guess is because that particular site was probably hammered with a lot of people doing it. What do you charge to upgrade AP firmware? We charge hourly, so our rate's $200 an hour for work, if that helps. So minimum is going to be probably an hour, depending on how many firmwares that need to be upgraded, and we kind of go from there. Do you have any videos for graduating IT students? I want to try and become an IT consultant. What services to offer? That's way difficult when you're starting out because people pay me to be a consultant because I worked in tech for 25 years. When you first get out of college, being a consultant is a lot harder because you don't have 25 years of experience behind you of the what and why and knowing products. So more and more people hire me because of the experience I have with things. So that's an important aspect when you're doing it. Someone said they're only getting 70 megs out of their Freenas. Let's look here. Actually, let's do this. That goes there. How big is this file? This is 5 gigs. So we'll go here. We'll go copy. Paste. How fast do I get? Someone said they only get 70. So come on. There we go. I get 480 out of mine. So my FreeNAS does 480 megs a second. Does that help? And by the way, if you didn't know, this is all being done over SMB in case that matters. So I'm getting about 500 megs a second out of mine. So there, that hopefully helps. Back. Cool. Time lapse. All right, cool. That's all there. Back to this. All right. So yes, I'm getting a lot more than 70 megabytes out of mine, but mine's also connected at 10 gig. So hopefully that helps there. But yeah, back to the product reviews. Like I said, I get a ton of people messaging me about different NAS solutions. That's a whole nother thing. I just don't have time to test them all and learn them all. I mean, hey, I'm sure there are cool ones out there, but by the way, I don't have time to learn them all. I mean, firewalls are a little bit different because we end up working with a lot of different environments, so that's going to be a thing. But this pool. Let's see, where would that be? This is a RAID Z2. So this is my particular pool. We just pulled it. These are all spinning drives, by the way. They're a bunch of 2 terabyte Seagate, 7200 RPM, I think, SAS drives. So they're nothing really special. They're old. Matter of fact, it probably has. We can probably actually here. Let's SSH in so we know what drives we're dealing with. But connected at 10 gig, you can see I'm getting quite a bit of speed. Control-A. Where's the dis? I make sure I get the names right. /dev/da. And these are Seagates. Specifically, I don't remember what drives are in here, but let's find out. We're all going to learn together. Tom doesn't remember what went in this particular box. These are, come on, 7.2K SAS, 2 gig drives. Nothing that special. Oh, Hitachi. That's I'm wrong. They're not Seagate. They're Hitachis. So cool. Hopefully that helps. Hitachi. I thought there's. Why does one say Seagate? I'm confused. Yeah, they are Seagate. These are the drives, anyways, right here. So move it so my head's out in the way. There's Seagate. 2 terabyte drive, 7200 RPM, SAS with an LSI connector, and I'm able to get 500 megs out of my FreeNAS when I'm pulling down out of it. So hopefully that helps. That's this FreeNAS system here, and the FreeNAS system is a Intel Xeon E5 2620 at 2 gigahertz with 32 gigs of RAM. So, and here's those 10 gig cards connected. So let's see. I've never had. Now, have I seen people complain about SMB issues? Yes, but I haven't seen them on the builds we do. I haven't had a problem. But we're also particular. Like I go to and I spend time at Will It FreeNAS in the forums before I build something. I make sure I'm building a compatible system. I don't know, and I don't even know if he follows me on my channel, but he sends me messages randomly. I got a person that just randomly says, "Hey, Tom, what should I use?" I said, "Use the Intel cards. You'll have the least amount of problem." Then he says, "Hey, you use a Chelsea card in one of your videos." I said, "Yeah, it has these problems. You shouldn't use it." Then he goes back and buys the Chelsea card so he can save $20. Then messages me, "Hey, I'm having all these problems." And I say, "Yes, those are the problems I mentioned." And he goes, "Well, they should fix them." And I'm like, "Yeah, build it with the cards I say, and you won't have those error messages." There's sometimes people do that. Like I don't. And RAM history over time in this? I don't think that's probably not interesting, but it would be. Is that helpful? I don't think this offers you any insight into my system at all. Do you want me to zoom out? That's from rebooting it. That's what those are. So that's a reboot. That's about it. Reboot not being used, goes into full peak usage after the. Here's when we updated it or something the other day. So hopefully that helps. But I do believe people have problems with them. I don't, because I choose proper cards that are supported. I don't do anything weird on the networks. I see people. I've helped a few people who've done things like put their Meraki. I said Meraki. I'm going to get to that question in a second. They put their FreeNAS on the other side of their firewall and go, "Hey, the transfer speeds are slow." I'm like, "Why are you running SMB through firewall routing rules? You've created your own problems." So if you, ideally, what you do is you put the FreeNAS on the network segment, the same layer as the systems that'll access it. Therefore, they don't route through your firewall, so you don't run into problems. We do a lot of troubleshooting for people. People contract me to do it, and most of the time I don't find problems with the underlying operating system. I find tons of misconfiguration issues. Now, have I worked with Cisco Meraki? Oh yeah, we're yesterday and today, and again, tomorrow too. We're finishing up a project where the client has all Merakis. Merakis are pretty simple because of their dashboard. I don't care for the licensing fees for them, but the customer has them. They've already got their license fees paid up for a few years. So part of the deal when they get it from the previous IT company was they bought 3-year licenses ahead of time. So they got like 2 more years left, I think. Whatever the contract is, not relevant. But I'm not going to tell them to rip and replace it, and they don't really want to pay the renewal, but the renewal is not due, so why not keep using them? They work. So yeah, we've used them. They work. They're functional. I've never really run any major issues with them. They seem fine. I don't think they make a horrible product. They just make a kind of pricey product. So yes, I have worked with them, and that's the thing. Hopefully it answers that question. Hello from Mexico. I wish I spoke Spanish. I would say something nice in Spanish, but I don't. Is 32 overkill? That kind of depends. So RAM and FreeNAS is occupied. It turns it into cache, ZFS cache. The more you put in, the more you cache. You don't need much for the services. You need like a gig for the services, so 0.8 free. The rest goes to caching. So that's the whole thing. You don't need, a lot of people, and maybe I should do a video on this particular topic. So let me log into my Home Freenas, which is going to be, close all these, and we'll show you what my Home Freenas is doing. Eat. So here's my Home Freenas that has, what do we have here? Four drives in it, 8 gigs of RAM, 40 terabytes, 4 10-terabyte drives that still have 14 terabytes available left right now. Once again, only 8 RAM. Where's the memory? Go to reports. And once again, you can see a big piece of it. I believe it's labeled as wired. About 5 gigs of it's committed to there. So 2 gigs is inactive. The 5 gigs is committed to the caching of it, and it works fine. But people are probably hammering on there going, but don't you need for every terabyte of storage? Shouldn't you have blah, blah, blah memory? I'm like, those are not clear, concise rules. And let me explain. The reason those aren't clear, concise rules is because with the way FreeNAS works, it will use all the extra memory. How much do you need in caching? The more caching, the faster it gets, especially if you have a frequently accessed file. It's going to put that file in memory and serve it up to you faster. Is that a need for the project you're doing? Do you need speed? Maybe you're using it for archival storage. Well, then memory, you can put at the very bottom because you're just keeping it there to keep it there. And when you stream back an archive, it's not frequent asking for the same file again. The use case is you need a file once. So it's never, if you don't ask for the same file a second time, it's not going to be cached and therefore not going to be any faster. So you don't need to build FreeNAS with a lot of memory. It depends on the use case. If we are setting it up for an engineering firm that will be frequently accessing a bunch of files, a big cache would be very helpful because they're all sharing and working on a design. They may want a 10 gig connection there because it matters a lot that the bandwidth is there to distribute the CAD files or engineering files back over to the customers. So there is a lot of variety in there. So it just comes down to what do you want and what's your use case. Gluster, nope, no interest in Gluster. Don't have a use case for that. I'm familiar with what it is, but nothing what we're doing at the moment requires me to learn it, so I haven't. Yeah, Meraki does look pretty straightforward. Dumbed down, maybe. They keep it really simple. They have like a bunch of profiles. So is my home always connected via site-to-site? It is not. I do not want a site-to-site between my home. I'm on a triple screen. And my other screen has where all the menus are. I just click the VPN button before I drag the window over. So it's not always on there. Yes. FreeNAS abuse video, lots of fun. Yes. Can you forward broadcast packets over tunnel? I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried. Probably. I don't know that I think by default it usually blocks broadcast, but you can push it. I have to dig into that. Hit their forums on that question. I don't know. So the thing is, I'm going to be in another building with the rest of my network with the LAN. Then need to be on the VLAN on the WAN interface. I don't know how big of a bottleneck it can be, so yeah. What am I running at home? I bet I'm running Z1 at home. So I don't care enough to make it. This is, whoops. Nope, cancel. Click the wrong button. Status, Z1. There's nothing on here I need to worry about backing up. This particular box is a destination, not a store. Well, I take that back. It does have all the Steam games on it. This is being used by. We go over here to services. I did a video on this already. This iSCSI connection is connected, and it's a Steam library. So back over here to the storage pools. And Steam library SCSI. So right there, that is 10 terabytes of a 10 terabyte ZVOL with probably 6 terabytes of data in it already from my son's games. So that's legit. Matter of fact, it's probably using it right now. Let me look. Is he playing any? I don't know if he's playing games right now or not. He probably is. Yeah, he was right here. That's probably when it was up high. It does an amazing job of caching. So, but this is my my son's gaming computer. This is a Freenas Mini E. I did the review on this. You can find it on my channel. It is an Intel Atom CPU at 1.5 gigahertz with 8 gigs of RAM. It's as bare bones basic as you can get. So, this is still running perfectly fine, running Steam with my son's games on it. On a daily basis, working perfectly fine. I have had no problems at all with it. It has worked flawless. If you zoom out, you can probably see when there were Steam updates. Actually, you should probably look at the drives. So let's look at the disk. You can see peaks where there was downloads and updates, probably the games right here. But other than these, it's been working flawlessly. It's worked great. It's been a great project actually. Network bandwidth. Yeah, there we go. Same peaks. These peaks are probably when the updates came, and you can see since November, it's quite a bit. It's been solid. That's no, my home. This is all done on this is just a 1 gig connection, which I'm shocked at how fast it is. I have all the video on this. We have all the numbers and the reports and everything in there. So, is Z2 generally enough? I'm really interested to give it a go after your video on how crazy stable it is. Z2 as in RAID Z2? Oh yeah, RAID Z2 or RAID Z1 is quite stable. RAID Z2 is going to give you more redundancy, so you just have to measure out which is better for you. Do you want more space or more redundancy? Where you go that. So on this server is running in a Z2. How many drives are in this thing? Storage pool, status. There we go. So yeah, there's all these drives in here. So is there 8 drives, 7 drives, or yeah, 6. 7, 8 drives. I have these in here. I had enough storage for what I do, this is my video server specifically, but it's my video server. And what other pools are in here? These are demo, home shares, video work. This is a iSCSI val and ignore stress relief. That's our joke. Oh, and the Zen Lab stuff is in here. So this is just a lab, a bunch of lab VMs all in here. So there's about 138 gigs of lab, and current video is 1.4 terabytes. I archive old videos that I create, and my videos aren't quite as big. So what do I think of using an old Dell 2850 as a firewall? As long as electricity is really inexpensive, where you are, a 2850 will function probably. I don't think I'd recommend it. To power at 2850 is a high wattage, loud device. So, how many watts does that thing use? A legacy one uses about 350 watts. Server uses, rounded to 348. They're loud, heavy, and use a lot of power, and they're old. I mean, I don't know what electricity costs where you are, but that may be a factor that you consider if you're doing that. So it's gonna be something to chew on there. Waiting for my car to see if it has an update. My car doesn't have an update. I'm calling Tesla tomorrow if I don't get my update. So hopefully that makes sense. It's one of those, the power benefits of virtualization, and this is a big piece of it. That's, you know what? And pull up Level 1 Text did a great video on this topic, and I'll reference it for you guys. I think it was, let me look and see if it was on this channel. He just did one about server virtualization. I seen it pop up anyways. Somewhere he did one about virtualization. What he talked about was just the power savings start offsetting things quite a bit. When you start moving to these Epic servers, you know what? Is it Level 1 Text Epic? Because it's going to be B100 Core Monster. I don't know. He had one that was upgrading a bunch of stuff in a data center recently. But that's kind of the point, is that when you go into one of these data centers, you save a bunch of money by moving things over to it. So once you start consolidating, putting everything in, you now saved a bunch of money because you've consolidated all the servers just in the wattage and everything else, condensing it all down. So yeah. But it's kind of up to you. If you have a place to put it, it doesn't bother you, you can definitely run those. So, and the server's in your garage, so cool. You want to sync it off-site. Well, you can do differentials off-site with XCP-NG. That is a thing. So, you can take these, set the destination to be somewhere else when you do them. And for example, we go over here. Where's mine? Especially like the Delta backups. Once you've done the initial Delta, you can set I actually will go over here to my remotes. You notice how I have two different ones here? One is the VM Deltas and VM Full. I keep these over here because these are easier to synchronize offsite. You can just dump them to a folder and then synchronize the folder offsite. Now, the initial sync takes a long time. The additional sync, and we'll go over here to backup, overview, like here's my Invoice Ninja Delta. It's only, and this is deltaing on the hour. You could do it less than that, but I mean, even deltaing on the hour means it's only 390 megabytes an hour. So you would have to get 390 megabytes per hour off-site to sync this particular one off-site. Depending on the speed of what you have, it's absolutely a plausible thing you could do. So this is something you could think about where you do the initial sync and then just do deltas over. Whether it lands on a machine may be tricky. I think if there's an internet disruption, you'll have a headache and a problem. But if you did delta snapshots, it's probably more effective to get them offsite and backed up. Yeah, Proxmox is cool. The containers are awesome in Proxmox. I like Proxmox. It just doesn't have the robustness when it comes to like the way I'm doing all this entire, like all these automated backups, all the synchronization, and we're I just did a demo for a client. Well, the one we're doing, I did a demo video of their Dell server that's going in a client tomorrow. That they wanted all this. They wanted these, even though it is not a huge server. The things that they want running on, they want to be able to fire right back up. So we're doing a P2V, getting all their physical, bringing them over these little small VMs and things like that over to this one box. Some Linux, some Windows, mostly Windows stuff. The Linux stuff I'm not worried about. That's arbitrary. Get it over there, and then we're taking and recommissioning their old servers to be the backups, and then we just go ahead and sync them with Deltas over there. And anytime we need to fire with that machine up, because if the main server has something bad happen to it, one click. And if we set them to be hourly, they'll never be more than 1 hour behind old VMs. So that kind of easy built-in system inside of here makes it really nice. And then to go a step further to offsite that backup, you then create another delta of all the different backups for the offline. Like that's what this one is here. When you look at this, you can see that it's a delta backup. 2 is called the Tank VM deltas, and it's a separate storage repository that I can then sync if I wanted to somewhere else. So it kind of gives you an idea, and it is easy to build a whole solution off of the whole XCP-ng product. That's why I like it. I do know Proxmox handles Docker better. I'm not running any Docker containers, so it's less relevant to me. But I do know people who do, and then Jay manages Docker via Proxmox, and he likes the integration they have in there. So, no, Delta backups are not VMware snapshots. Snapshots are still snapshots. Snapshots are one and the same. So if we do a snapshot of this, so here's W9 base, we do a snapshot. That's a snapshot of this particular VM, and it's a state and time. Deltas, see, there's not an equivalent in VMware. This is features VMware is missing. VMware is like, oh, buy a third-party product to back up. This is just where you do the snapshots. When we go over here to backups, this is an entire integrated backup system, and oh yeah, LXC container. It has containerization. I kept saying Docker, but yeah, it is LXC, not Docker. But you can. There is some type of integration with Docker you can do. Because I know someone was telling me about it, and I've just not used it enough to be to speak intelligently about it. Back to XCP-ng. XCP-ng's backup though is a backup system. So as I've had people say, well, can I use Veeam with Zen Orchestra? I'm like, why would you use Veeam with it? I don't understand. Like, you don't need to use Veeam. It's built in. They're like, what about Datto? Well, same thing. If you just have another system that you can sync to, you just sync to it. You don't need to build a third-party box. You just load XCP-ng on both of them, and then you go ahead and synchronize to it or keep a hot VM at the ready. You just don't need those third parties. Zen Orchestra is the entire package top to bottom to do these things. Matter of fact, if you go into, you can look at jobs, scheduling. One of the things you can even do here is build a job out that migrates VMs based on schedules if you wanted to. You could just kick off and orchestrate migrations back and forth, put them on schedules, shut them down. There's a ton of features you can do with this. You don't need any more third-party things for it. It's all integrated right in here. Matter of fact, this is kind of crazy. You can do file level restores inside of here. So you can go into these, and depending on where they're landed for the backups, you can then go back and do a file level restore with certain types of backups scenarios that you have. So think about that. Not only does it do a backup, maybe you just wanted a file from a backup. You can then, without restoring it, go there, and it's an option. So kind of gives you a better idea. It's a much more in-depth system than that. Maybe I need to do a video on just like the difference. I've done a video where I covered a little bit. Maybe I should do a head-on video of just how many features are built into Zen Orchestra. And this is why I don't use any third parties. It's all inclusive in one place. Let's see. Dell R210. I don't know the specs of an R210, but I've heard people make a lot of routers out of them. If people mess with me, it probably works fine. So, what's the state of PCI device pass-through, especially mainstream GPU like a 1080 Ti and XCP-ng? You can pass anything you want through, but by the way, the dev team not likely to ever write it into the UI. That's not their market. That's a home user feature. That's not something enterprises ask for. So will anyone ever pass them through and make it available in the UI? No. But I have posted this link, and if you type Zen server, there's a bunch of articles. You just got to know the device ID. You just pass it through. It's not, you just got to figure out what you're going to do. Like, you got to find the device ID, set DOM0, PCI back, HDIE, blah, 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 and then you pass it through. So, and then you pass it through to which one, you assign it to a VM. It's pretty simple to do. I never do it because I don't have a use case for that. So yeah, Unraid has the ability to pass through in the UI with a checkbox. Why do they do that? They know they're targeting home users who want to do that. So if you're a home user and you want pass-through, yes, you can pass it through on Unraid without going to the command line. And I know that's what home users want. When it comes to businesses, we want VMs to be able to be moved around and shuffled. That means you never tie it to the piece of hardware. Once you've tied a piece of hardware to it, that VM doesn't run without that hardware. So you've lost any type of HA possibilities. I can't migrate to another server. Matter of fact, this is something I do. When we want to work on one of our servers, we migrate the VMs that are running without shutting the business down over to the server that's not being worked on. We can take it out of the pool and work on it. But if you start tying everything to a pass-through, you have to shut it down. Hopefully that same device exists on the other system. Find and match the ID and pass it over there. So SRIOV is supported. This does support SRIOV, but that comes to the same problem. Once you do an SRIOV pass-through, which is basically virtualizing the network card and passing through the network card, that is supported in here. But that comes back to the same problem. You can't pass the VMs back and forth because the SRIOV won't pass live between two. You can HA it and have, as long as you have two matching systems that have SRIOV on both. But yeah. And Proxmox can pass through as well, but once again, it's more of an end user feature, a home user feature. It's not something businesses use. Now, it does have support for, I have none in my machine, but if you have a, matter of fact, so let's do this, Zen server GPU support. So if we pass through, actually we want vGPU. One of these Tesla M10s, these will pass through. So these are different. These are not you passing it through like that. This is vGPU. And the same thing, like someone mentioned, SRIOV. So what do we got here? Is that apply filter? That MX. So it kind of depends on what you're wanting and how you want to set these up. But it is available if you want those higher end video cards and things like that, especially the NVIDIA ones. These aren't cheap. A Tesla M10, what do they go for? About 2 G's. The pass-through I'm talking about, David, is the pass-through like taking a standard video card pass-through. Unraid has an option for that. At least I know Linus did some videos on it. I'm talking about passing through like a standard video card pass-through into a VM. Not these. This is a enterprise feature where you pass through a Tesla M10, but you don't go grab an off-the-shelf gaming video card, toss it in a XCP NG box, and go, yeah, this just works. It's not even VMware. VMware ESXi pass-through. So it's not like even with them. Let me look here. You notice the list? It's the same. It doesn't say I can go grab my 1080 Ti ESXi. It supports the same thing. The Tesla M10, Tesla M6, Tesla here. It's the same things. It's supported. This is the enterprise version of pass-through. Just so fair enough, David, that I could be conflating the two things a little bit or make it confusing when I was talking about this. You're not going to go buy a what was that one? Asus Gamer. This is what's not supported. You're not going to go grab some GTX. I don't know video cards, so someone's going to crucify me. I'm picking an old card or something. But you're not going to go grab some GTX card, some generic one like this, and pass it through. You can do that but you're passing through it, the PCI bus, not doing this. So there is a difference in there. Do you occasionally reseed full VMs of those? No, it's not necessary when you're doing that, by the way. You don't need to reseed. It's when you go here, let's go to backups, overview. I keep 2 of them for different reasons. I keep them separate because I backed them up differently. But like here's my Delta backup. And when it's doing this, when I go to restore, so let's go here, we'll go to restore. And let's find Invoice Ninja. That's the logs. There we go. So there's 2 deltas. And when you go to restore them, I don't have to have them. I can restore from here or here, or last time I did a full on November 28th. But there's not a need to ever reseed them. If there was ever a problem where I went and purged them, it'll recreate them in full. So, for example, if I were to go in and delete these 2 backups, it'll automatically recreate them. That's part of the automation of it. So I keep 2 deltas, and every now and then I do a full. The fulls are usually done before I do a full upgrade, and it kind of leaves me a point in time because these are happening automatically. And if you noticed, the time differentials between them, it's just snapshotting every now and then. So if I were to discover some problem, I like to be able to reference back because these are happening constantly on an automatic basis. Hopefully that helps answer that question. Yeah, VPU is a different idea. Virtual GPUs powered by a physical GPU, all the hardware accelerations. Compared to a pass-through, you need a GPU per VPM. Yeah, it's a lot different because you're not taking the hardware and passing it through. You're sharing a GPU among the VMs and assigning resources to it, just like the processor. When you look at the processor, and we'll go here. So this system here, let's make it full screen. It's thinking. So if we go here, Neo Fetch, right here we have, you can see the processor, Debian, hardware virtualization, Xeon with 16 cores. So X5670 with 16 cores. And if we go over here, we see 16 cores X570. We go over here to the hosts, and then you can see the host itself has where's the processor? PowerEdge, R710. That's the processor it's in here. I thought I said it right here. I'm looking right at it. I know it feels like it's in front of my face. Anyways, this has 24 cores. So if we go back over here to the VMs, and we'll go ahead and we see it has, this is similar how the GPU works. So we have the 16 cores right here at 2.9. So we stop the system. General, 4 cores, start it back up. And now if you pulled it back up, it would only have 4 cores when you go back into there. What backs up your FreeNAS system? Another FreeNAS system. It's FreeNAS it's like turtles all the way down. FreeNAS and Backblaze. You just send all the data offsite to Backblaze, and that's one way to keep it. Also keeping another server at another location that gets synchronized to. And now it's down to only 4 cores at 2.9. So you kind of get the idea that, yeah, it's now has a 4 core. The GPU works the same way. When you have a vGPU, it assigns those resources that you can delegate out to the different virtual machines. So you can take a virtual machine and say, I need this much GPU moved over to this one or that one. Kind of give you an idea how that works. So hopefully, yeah, I am all the different, my FreeNAS backs up to another FreeNAS offsite with synchronization. I also then create what they call immutable backups that go into safe. I've done a review on these before. All the VMs. Matter of fact, I'll literally show you how they get backed up because I have it pulled up in the other window. I think it's right here. So exit. There we go. Cool. So I take here, and I was backing up some stuff. So this is backing up to my local system. So now my local system has a local copy of all the files, and then I have one of those drives plugged in. I actually have one plugged in right now. And then I would just go VBox back up to, it's VBox back up to, I think the SanDisk is plugged in, and then it copies it off there, and that creates the immutable version of my backup. I have an automated one, but every now and then I like to have immutable versions. And what are immutable versions mean? It's not plugged in. You know what that means? It's immutable. You can't get to it. And I always keep two of them. That way when I do them in doubles, I back them up, and now I have an immutable. This is just like a snapshot of my company that can go in a safe, that in an undisclosed location that are like, hey, and they're all encrypted. 100% they're encrypted with locks. And that means if someone were to figure out my hiding place and hack my systems and then get to my Backblaze and haha, Tom, we're going to destroy everything we can about you, they would have to then know the other location of these just so I have at least some snapshot of my company that I take once a week. So Backblaze is cheap. They have a storage calculator for Backblaze. It's actually not that expensive. I'm not going to log into my account because we have a lot of customer stuff backed up there. But they do have a pricing calculator. We're using the B2 Cloud, by the way. So we're using B2 Cloud storage. They have a cost calculator. Pricing for B2. There we go. 0.005 per gig per month. So let's say you have, 10 terabytes of data to back up, and you put another 100 gigs in there, monthly delete, monthly that for the last 12 months. So 10 terabytes of backup for your clients is $630 a year. I don't think we have that much in there for all of our client stuff. We have probably 3 terabytes. Whoops. $218 a year for 3 terabytes of backup. And by the way, let's actually, how much backup do you have, Tom? That's a good question. I don't know. Let's figure that out. What do we got here? So go over to this folder here, including all of the revisions I have for all the things you've seen. It's all of to run my entire company and then more because some of the lab stuff's in here too. 428 gigs, half a terabyte to back up my entire company and every document. Almost 7,000 customer records that we have in there. So yeah. Nope, I never use the USB pass-through there. Oh yeah, rsync. For those, I see someone ask that's rsync. Yeah, that's just rsyncing. When I back up to these little drives, these thumb drives and stuff like that, this is all just rsync. These are this is an NVMe one. I've reviewed this, and I also have a SanDisk one. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know which one I like better, so I bought a couple of each, and I rotate through them and dump data to them. Currently, I'm dumping 428 gigs to them each time. Let's see. Build a second identical system. Yes. Never use the pass-through. Electric costs. There you go. When you get the time, could you give me some advice because I really need it? I don't know. I don't know what you want advice on. My advice is watch my videos. I don't really know what you're asking. Hopefully, I have a lot of videos. Hopefully, one of the videos has the answers to the questions that you have. I don't know if that's helpful at all. Not sure. And this is my main one. I have another server that we use for our lab stuff. We need to upgrade these servers eventually because these are R710s. They are old, but they're kind of those ain't broke, don't fix it. I've talked about this a couple times. When you look at the stats, you're like, here's what a week of use looks like. Here's why I upgraded something. There's why I upgraded something. These little blips are usually upgrades. We just don't really use this. We weren't even using all the memory that's in it. It's 4 gigs of RAM, and that actually is connected to over 1,000 computers through Screen Connect, and it's still only using 4 gigs of RAM and that much CPU. You're trying to figure out what you don't know. I still don't know exactly if it's even possible to get in between and be able to see everything. I don't know what that means, so I can't give you advice on that. What else did I want to babble on about? So, why I review some things. I think I've covered that. I beat that up ad nauseum. Imagine in 20 years, 500 gigs for your backup will be a couple of petabytes a day. Remember, 64. Yeah, that's the thing. All this stuff is so much bigger than it used to be. So I cut my teeth on run length limited RLL drives that I used to set up with this right here, and I kept one of them. This, so you see that there. Someone was gonna laugh out of this. I'm not a big collector of things, but I do have this because I love the fact that it says Cumulus, like a cloud. This was clearly a cloud drive, and you can see how old, big, and clunky it is. I think this is a 10 megabyte. What size is this? I've had this one forever. I forgot the size completely. That piece of information has now escaped me. This is one of the very first IDEs. This is after RLLs and stuff like that, but IDEs. So yeah, it's crazy. So this is when I first started working on computers. I worked on these in the 90s. So in the 80s, 90s, and I got a job reconditioning old hardware. It was one of my first tech jobs I had, setting up these little cards like this. So let me move my head out of the way, get an idea. But yeah, I used to set up these cards like this and everything else. People ask me like, how do you learn some of this stuff? I'm like, I've been doing this since 1990. I was playing with it in the late 80s into the 90s. My first job was in the 90s. almost 25 years later, yeah, I got some knowledge on this stuff just because it's nonstop. I've not had another job. Oh man, I could not probably set up an RLL drive. That probably has fallen out of my head because it's been so long. It used to be a real tedious way you initialized. This was long before you could quick format everything. You had to do the sector alignments. You had to do the cylinders and heads, and yes. I have 2 Bigfoot drives. They are the counterbalancers for my boom mics, are Bigfoot hard drives. If anyone ever wondered what I kept them to use them as counterbalance weights for my boom mic. So those are fun. Hello from Dubai. So, oh yeah, let's see, old computer ads. Look at that. The 4,000 and remember, that's $4,000 back then. So that would probably be more along the lines of like $9,000 today. So yeah, hard drives were so expensive. You know, under $18,000 for the IBM 5110. Oh, I forgot he did computer ads. Is that Shatner? He did the VIC-20 ads? Yeah, William Shatner. Boy, he's young. Oh yeah, I can definitely dive into this old stuff forever. I was there, man. I was there. I did all this old stuff. This is my early days of computers. Fun times. Fun times. What else we have here? What's this thing doing? It's transferring a lot of data. Which one is this? Oh, this is my son's playing games right now. I was like, at first I was like, why is this is the FreeNAS Mini? You wonder what it looks like when my son's playing games. My son is playing games right now. How can I tell? Well, it's now chooching out here at 66 megs out to the computer and 3 megs back because, well, iSCSI doesn't need that much. So yeah, this is what it looks like when he starts loading up his games. So this is how this has been a long-term test to, you know, the iSCSI working like this. I mean, I've been using it for a while and it just works. He has no problem. Matter of fact, the games are faster. We had a Western Digital Black in there before, and it's faster than the Western Digital Black. And it performs like, not just in benchmarks, but like actually how fast we load the games is a lot faster. And we've been moving all the Steam library off all the spinning drives in the system. So the system boots on NVMe and runs over here. All the Steam libraries presented at iSCSI, reference that video. It just works. So yeah, I am actually a very boring person. There's no secret movie folder. Yeah. So the way any of the ad blocking, I have videos on PF Blocker and Pi-hole. Both of those, it's using them for DNS. You point your DNS at them. That's the trick to blocking the ads. Hopefully that helps. What else we got here? Well, no, the DNS, you're blocking ads of DNS. That's the tricky part. Block with DNS, not with getting man-in-the-middled. That's not the way to do it. And you can see when you loaded the game how it was at 65 and then it slows down to 36. And after a little while, it'll slow down even further. It's kind of the up and down of when it's doing it and what it's reading assets and assets being pulled into memory. I covered that in the video, but yeah, that's cool that it's up and running and working. So that's neat. This one's probably doing nothing. No, this is just, my video box doesn't do much. I bought it to do more with, and I never did the more. I'm going to do the more soon. So $2 a.m. in Cape Town. That's the other side of the planet there. What other questions do people have? I'm trying to figure out if I don't know what else I want to babble on about. I mean, I could probably sit here forever, but I do eventually have to leave because I got stuff to do. Go hang out with my son, figure out what my wife wants to do. I haven't started, but I'm ready to binge watch Mr. Robot, so I've been saving that up. I am a fan of that. Why is my wife... Oh, she's out to dinner. Okay. Trying to figure out what my wife is. I found her. I don't use Home Assistants. Can I show Dan crosstalk? I don't know his IP address, honestly. And I wouldn't do that to Chris, but because I don't know his IP address, yeah. What open source program do you suggest for remotely helping someone else's Linux PC? None. I can't name one. There's maybe one that exists. I'm unaware of it. Well, there's a couple of them out there. I haven't looked in a while. Here's the problem. They're a bunch of cobbled together. I don't know if there's been any security auditing of them products. So if there's no security auditing of it, I'm certainly not going to tell someone to load it on their computer and hopefully nothing will happen. One of the cool free ones out there is the Google has a, what is Google's remote desktop? Is it Google Remote Desktop? What it is? I did a video on it, remotedesktop.google.com. Super obvious, right? But yeah, this is great. This is a great tool that's free from Google for doing remote support. So I definitely like that a lot. It's solid. It's secure. If you hate Google, then hate Google because you're like, they're going to steal my privacy information. Yeah, whatever. TeamViewer, do they still offer a free version? I just don't know. If TeamViewer still offers a free version, that's going to be a popular solution as well. Thank you, Joel, for being a fan and liking the videos. Awesome. Any personal predictions? I bet more places get hacked. and more MSPs get hacked and more ransomware. Until there's not money in ransomware, there's going to be ransomware. So more of the same. I don't see anything changing next year on the horizon. Antivirus on Windows. So I can't tell you because of how I know this, but I do have a little bit of inside information. We're actually starting to see Defender be better than some of the paid commercial products. Like, I can't share the actual evidence of that, but I actually know from people I talk to in statistics that have seen this, and they were all impressed. Actually, I can tell you what Xavier told me. When Xavier was doing a proof of concept for fileless ransomware, several antiviruses completely ignored it. Windows Defender caught it. Windows Defender has actually become better than the majority of the antiviruses out there. Besides maybe some of the really high-end commercial, not consumer antiviruses, hands down, Windows Defender is solid. Like the more we look at it, the more the stats are on it, the reviews on it. Yeah, it just works. It's become a really solid platform for Windows Defender, shockingly. And that only goes for Windows 10 now because as of January, they're dropping support for it. So. Running PA with pfSense Open VPN server so I could connect back to my home network, but running home internet is slow. It depends on the speed. There's a lot of factors in that. If you have a fast enough box to even host the VPN. There's not really any speeding up. Once you start pushing things through VPN tunnels, it gets slower and slower until you have a fast enough machine for it. There's no secret to that. So I got no help for you there. I think I have a video. I think I have a getting started video for Zabbix. They have a whole VM you can just download too. I don't know what you would use Zabbix for. I have here a whole video on setting up Zabbix. How it works, what it is, blah, blah, blah. They even have all the downloads, how we config. So I have the video on Zabbix. Nope, never used Bitdefender. Well, we're moving away from Bitdefender because it isn't great. So I don't even know what Gravity Zone is. We use the commercial side of Bitdefender, and we're certainly unimpressed with it. So I don't know, what is Bitdefender? Is that a consumer product? Huh. Never used it. It's been around a little while. Bitdefender Gravity Zone starting at $81 per unit for 5 units built annually, blah, blah, blah. Hosted endpoint protection solution in a roundup. Here's the problem. All these companies aren't Microsoft. They're all trying to hack their way in and hook into the system versus Microsoft build something in there. So I'm not impressed with WebRoot either. I have not seen a machine that didn't get a virus with one of the aforementioned products. So basically what I've talked to my friends in the security, especially the ones who do incident response, there's not an antivirus system. This does include Carbon Black. This does include Cylance. This does include Sentinel-1. They haven't seen an antivirus product that someone hasn't figured out a way to get around. That's it. So that's one of the things. Now, the only kind of exception is if you do a full lockdown of the machine. And for example, so if you look at something, and this is not really a tool. I don't think there's any type of tool except for commercial use of this. What they do with like Threat Locker, they just create whitelists. So no program will run on your computer that's not whitelisted. So there's that. And you can do this yourself kind of in Windows by creating a whole series of policies that nothing will run except for what you have allowed to run. And as long as the things you have allowed to run never get a virus in them, like they themselves aren't an attack vector, what we refer to as a supply chain attack, you can stay safe. So there is this as an option, like to do a full lockdown where just no applications run except for the ones that you allow. But obviously that is super tedious and a pain in the butt. So, so yeah, definitely Windows Defender. Home users, all day Windows Defender. We find it works better. I picture people with a home lab wanting Zabbix. I can't imagine a home user using it. Like, I don't know what you'd use it for, but from a standpoint of could you use it for, make sure the right dashboard's pulled up. Zabbix, remember, is the last dashboard you have pulled up, so there's things you have to make sure. Hold on. Update. All right, cool. So I can show this. I mean, there's things you can use it for. Like I get these pretty dashboards here. I guess if that matters. There we go. Last hour, we can look at different things. What's going on with my data. I can dive into stats on different stuff. If we do it for monitoring, like let's look at my forums. So UniFi, here's the LTS forums. Latest data. CPU performance, blah, blah, blah. Notice if it went offline. Zabbix is cool for that. I can then start digging into traffic, for example. So let's go back. Let's get the traffic data from my forums. So we go here. So in the last previous month, previous year, I don't know, this year so far, this is the kind of data that's being used. I could also then pull CPU load. And so why I use Zabbix, so if I'm looking at stuff like this month, previous month, I maybe want to see, and this is where I updated the forums, these little spikes and things like that. You look to see, does my CPU utilization get too high? Well, no, it's obviously here using not even 10% of the overall workload in here. So I'm like, okay, not a CPU load problem. What about disk-based usage? All right, it's about there. It's not bad. Network traffic on traffic Docker 0, cool. I'm clearly not out of bandwidth. I'm not even hitting kilobits overall for the last, let's say, this year so far. Yeah, these are my downloads for doing updates and backing up my forums, so you kind of get the idea. It's cool if you need this data. I do, so I can predict when I need to upgrade a server, upgrade my forums, and for monitoring some of my infrastructure, which these right here are turned off. I also monitor things like Screen Connect. If there was a problem, I can monitor my UniFi system. Matter of fact, if we, what do we got here? All right, here's how much CPU load the UniFi system's using, utilization versus network traffic that's going on here. So yeah, on average in the last hour, well, let's say this month, it's using about 14 megs per second. So, okay, it's not using full capacity. This is also as video polling. You can kind of see how you can correlate data with this. That's what this is for. Yeah, I like monitoring Zabbix. Zabbix is a separate standalone machine. Matter of fact, when you go in here in Zen Orchestra, there's my Zabbix machine. And it's just going out, and this is us just using it now, but for the most part, it's, as you can see, it sits at like 0% CPU usage, and it's got 2 gigs and 4 cores assigned to it, and yeah, it completely is doing nothing. And the reason it was started 19 days ago is I loaded an update that required a reboot. So, no, I'm using, Zabbix is monitoring the VM directly. I'm not using SNMP. Because UniFi monitors UniFi, and then I just grab Zabbix to pull the UniFi server data into Zabbix. But I'm letting UniFi accumulate all the stats and all the UniFi hardware. Hopefully that clears things up. SNMP, where is the... So yeah, they've got the whole solutions, all categories. There's a ton of things you can plug into Zabbix. There's a ton of things. So they've got there's a whole Zabbix, even for S-Flow, everything you want. There's something you can do in there, S-Flow monitoring, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you can do a ton of integrations for it. Zabbix is extremely extensible for plugins, extremely extensible for what you can do. Then you can do triggers that create alerts, that create trouble tickets, et cetera. You can go crazy with it. So hopefully that helps. I don't use Graylog or Splunk. Can Zabbix monitor on Facebook Messenger? No. Doesn't have that. It does. I use email alerts for everything. Email is my workflow. I don't care. Slack is pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm still really partial to a workflow of everything being via email. It just works for me. For business use cases, I still probably recommend Defender, but we're using SentinelOne for our businesses right now. So SentinelOne, if you can afford it, it seems to be a pretty solid product. And we also use Huntress. Huntress Labs is not protection, it's a notification. It's our second layer of defense to see what got by whatever antivirus. I guess that's my jaded way of saying that I don't trust any product. That's why we have two. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Why does everyone think DNS ad block is a key to blocking ads? Because clearly I can't see them if it's an HTTPS, if the device itself. So I don't understand the question. Normally DNS is the way to block it because most DNS traffic's unencrypted on your local network. Matter of fact, even on the internet, most DNS traffic is still unencrypted, with the exceptions being things that are using DNS over HTTPS. I did videos on this. If you're using this, your DNS is encrypted. If you're using DNS TLS, fewer people are using it, but this works too. This is DOT. Not as popular, but definitely can be done and is supported, including in pfSense. And then DNS or HTTPS, that would be encrypted, but most of the time it's not. So yeah, most DNS, like I said, is unencrypted, which makes it simple. You just point the DNS at your Pi hole, or in the case of pfSense, if you have PF Blocker loaded, you put an add sinkhole there, and away you go. I don't understand the question. You want to whitelist domains in PF Blocker when GeoIP is active. I don't know why just don't block the domains you won't want blocked. People get confused by that a lot. I try to help a lot of people, but some of the confusion seems to come in. Maybe I need to do watch this video, firewall and blocking fundamentals, so you kind of get an idea of how things work. Maybe that would be helpful. I think that's funny. I'm logged in. Ooh, do I need to create a Lawrence Systems user page? Start the user Lawrence Systems page? Talk all about my company? I'll do that later. It's not a today project for sure. So maybe someone more inspired to write than me. I like talking, not writing. Yeah, the other thing everyone always asks me about, and that's why I have a video that it probably would help most people on the blocking topic. What is it called? My only video on Squid. Why I prefer DNS blocking over Squid. So, Mr. Waste, watch this video. It is me bashing on why I like DNS blocking. So there we go. But why are you trying to? What are you trying to block? That's what I'm confused about here, Sebastian. I don't get it. You want to block something, but get to it on certain times. Why? That doesn't make much sense to me to do it that way. I mean, it's like living life on hard mode. Let me find something difficult to do just because. So I'm not picking on you. I'm just not grasping. And this is the thing. I get a lot of people to ask me these questions, and sometimes people just get aggravated. They can't explain to me. I'm like, but I don't understand what the goal. A lot of times, one of my things I do with clients, or everything. Let's go all the way over and let's start with what the goal. What are you trying to achieve? And we'll determine that way if that is the way, the methodology by which to achieve it is the best. So. But what are you trying to block? I've heard about GDPR. You still haven't answered the question how this affects you. You don't want to accidentally go to a European website? How does data protection work in the US? Equifax, data breach. It doesn't. So This is the BS. Equifax data breach stock price. The price dropped and it plunged 18%. But then if you look at Equifax stock price now, it's up. So let's go over the 5-year. This is what a data breach is. And then we're back up at $141 a share. So a data breach in the U.S. generally seems to make some companies some money, including the company that got data breach. So it just doesn't work. The fines are slaps on the wrist, and everyone's data's out there, and nothing really happens. Some CEO, Equifax CEO, Golden. See, it auto-completes, Golden Parachute. I knew it was going to say. For screwing up everyone's stuff, the CEO got $90 million. That's how well our data privacy works. So Equifax retires with a $90 million parachute. They fired the guy by giving him $90 million. How does that make you feel about how data privacy works in the U.S.? It's a joke. So 140 million people lose their stuff, $90 million given to CEO for screwing up. So the Google fine for GDPR was actually interesting. The backstory of it, Google said they were fine to pay the fine on the condition that they got clarification on the law. And because they've been going after Google, a bunch of overzealous people who don't like a bunch of things Google's doing. And it's really confusing. The whole right to be forgotten thing is what they've been fighting Google over, which is stupid. Sorry, Europe, you're dumb on that part. I like the fact that you have some data privacy, but right to be forgotten is just stupid. And it's something politicians want because they go, I'd like you to forget about these atrocities that I committed while in office. You want to whitelist Let's Encrypt to be allowed access, but why? Are you hosting, Sebastian? Am I missing something? Are you a user or you're hosting? You have a hosting company? That's the part I'm super unclear on. Perhaps, Sebastian, post in my forums, then you could do an explainer on it. Because that is another thing that does happen. Someone was posting about... and I could be more on NAT, maybe? What is someone inbound? NAT, using NAT rule. Double NAT. NAT USG. What is the Cisco? Maybe it's Cisco I got to type in. Or did the person delete the post? Cisco. Someone told me that pfSense wouldn't do something here. If anyone, and I'm going to throw this in the forum so you guys don't have to search for it like I did. So this is one of those discussions. Like, I like having these, and I don't think this person ever replied to me. They kept telling me that you can't do port address translation on here, and I responded back and forth. And maybe someone, is this not the same where you can bring in one port and land on another? This is, I like having the discussions on forums. This is where you'll get to engage me. People send me emails on this stuff all the time, and I delete all of them because the emails are for hiring me. Forums are for discussions. And so I won't argue with you at email with me, but I will debate, and maybe one of us is wrong and one of us is right. And yeah. Hey, look at those quick arrows. You clearly watched my other video. This is me screenshotting going, hey, got a question here. Because they said you can't do PAT on pfSense firewalls. And I'm like, yes, you can. So, yeah. Hosting Nextcloud Nginx only allow access from my country, but your domain has to be listed. That is completely irrelevant. You're not going to get GDPR fine for hosting. At least I don't think GDPR means you can't host things yourself. I don't know. I'm really even more confused now that you just want Let's Encrypt to renew your Nextcloud cert. I don't know why you'd be blacklisting. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I don't know. But if you're just running NAT, or just use DNS, so, oh, there's two Sebastians? You're right, I gotta read more names. Yeah, you can use DNS Acme as well. Hopefully that helps too. Is red worse than green? I don't know. Unread, periodic snapshot test. Hopefully that helped. Get an idea how long it takes. There we go. Hopefully that'll help that person. I don't know. You could just always go look and manually add a rule for the IP addresses for Let's Encrypt. So you could actually go out and create a rule, and then you would go into pfSense and create a rule above the other rules. If you created a rule above the other rules that said whitelist this particular IP address because you get the list of Let's Encrypt, there's a way to do it. But I don't understand. I guess maybe if you're trying to block everyone, but why would you block outbound at all? Don't block outbound, block inbound. You don't need to block outbound. So if you're blocking inbound because you don't want people coming in, that's fine, but that doesn't block your outbound. Hopefully that makes some sense. Yes. Post in the forums with lots of arrows. So I can try to articulate a better answer to the problem. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll try. What's new in here? Oh, someone wanting to know. I don't know. I don't always know the answer. I don't try it on a ton of different hardware. There's a forum for that, and it's not mine. If you can you block hostname domain name? I don't know. I think so. It doesn't do regex, but I believe it does. Yeah, it does domain name. It does hostname blocking. So yes, you can do blocking based on that. That is definitely possible. I mean, you can block outbound. It's whether or not you want to block outbound. I understand. I do know it does to it. It all depends on how much crazy you want to drive yourself, getting into and diving into all those details. So I think that's about it, though. I am worn out. I need to go do some stuff and things. So I'm going to wander off here. Is there any final questions before I go? I just like the way this interface loads. I feel as though the interface loads a lot faster than the legacy FreeNAS interface. So what's the last question there, Mr. Waste? $1 a.m. Yeah, it's 7:13 p.m. here, so I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I've been punching at the keyboard all day. Nope. LastPass, LogMeIn being bought out. Concerns? No, not really. I mean, whatever. They'll raise prices or something. It's so cheap. It's stupid. From a business standpoint, I mean, if you don't like it, go use Bitwarden or whatever. What's their price? They raised it. Someone said they raised the price. Oh, there we go. Whoops. Pricing. There we go. It's $4 per user per month for all of your family passwords, organized, secure, blah, 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 at your fingertips. Premium is $3 a user a month. They did raise it. It was like $28. It's $36 or something. It's like $36 a year, and people are going, "Oh my gosh, it's so expensive! $36 a year, man, that's crazy." It's like the cheapest thing I pay for, and it's still free. You still get for 30-day trial of premium, but first step premium password, just a bunch of single user features that you get with it. So yeah, self-hosted Bitwarden is free, but are you good at self-hosting it and securing it, or are you going to end up accidentally? Not everyone should self-host things. That's just, we see a big, yeah. It's kind of neat, but one day I'll look at Bitwarden, but it's low on my list. One, this isn't a pain point. LastPass works great. It's been poked at by people like Tavis Ormandy. So Tavis Ormandy, LastPass, he has been really hard on them, and which is great. That's what you want. Tavis has been really pushing at it, and when I know people like Tavis are poking at LastPass, that's what I like to hear. Bitwarden and KeyPass are both open source. So KeyPass and Bitwarden. Both of these are, well, that's not good. I haven't used KeyPass in forever. Apparently they're, KeyPass is we'll go to the wiki page because this page is broken. They have an invalid certificate. Why is it? Huh. Strange. That's blocked. I don't know why. I don't care enough to dig into it right now. But these two are on there, so. Privacy concerns? It's all encrypted. They don't have access to, I mean, someone pointed out and was upset because they have access to certain levels of data because of the way some sites hold on to, like they know what sites might be in there. Not that concerned about it, so they know what sites I have. YubiKeys are pretty cool. I don't always use them, but they are pretty neat. So YubiKeys are pretty neat product. My general thing is with SSH is not exposed publicly. It's behind a VPN, and it's key only. So never password, just key only. Make an ad blocker or on a DNS. PF blocker if you're using pfSense, or Pi-hole if you're not. Hopefully that helps. Those are the two big ones out there. And there's uBlock Origin, and there is AdBlock Plus. Yes, and always store the private key encrypted. No exception there. Yeah, maybe one day I'll switch to Bitwarden. It's not on my to-do list right now. Far from it. Due to security concerns and things like that. So I feel as though LastPass is secure. Ad blocking will get bigger than those in the long run. I don't know what that means. I am unclear. I am also tired. As you can tell, I went from enthusiasm to slouching in my chair. That's how my day goes. The further down I slouch, the more tired I am. The more I just kind of want to go to sleep. Well, not really sleep. Once I get out in the cold, how cold is it outside? I know it's cold out. It's 28. It's not too cold. It was a lot colder this morning. It was like 8 this morning when I woke up. What is the wind chill? Does it tell me? Not that cold. Oh, Brave. Looks interesting. I don't know where Brave will go. It's a bold idea. We'll see if they can keep it going. Ads are the exchange of the internet. You watch ads, and therefore you get lots of websites for free. Until someone solves the microtransaction problem, you will continue to get ads to be able to get things for free on the internet. That's going to be the rule for a long time coming. Hopefully that helps. All right. Well, I am out of here. I am done. I am tired. Do I run Plex? Yeah, I run Plex at home. Yes, I know LogMeIn's being bought by a venture fund. It happens. So, all right. Thanks all for joining in. Please participate in the forums if you want a more in-depth discussion rather than snarky answers from me. I definitely like to reply on here and have intelligent discourse on topics. So, yes. If you have a more in-depth question, there's a lot. The forums, look at the stats on these. I have several thousand people a day here. So definitely not bad at all. There's a lot going on in these forums. So definitely join in, participate. There's a lot of wonderful people that are joined in there that I'm always getting new signups every day, new topics, new posts coming, new contributors, et cetera, et cetera. So stay active. I stay active in here and I'll reply to everyone. And if anyone is someone who did business-wise who emailed me and does have me watching, that's tomorrow's project to reply to everyone and get it all sorted out. All right, and thanks.